Okay. So I want to get started right away. I guess, refresh some people who may not be aware of what I'm doing. But this Library of Life live series I started, it's basically, um, I wanted to be able to provide resources for people. In a sense, I just came up with this today. But yeah, I just want to be the librarian of life for people, give them resources in a way that it doesn't, I'll say, break their pockets. And even just hearing one thing, because I learned some things from you, so I'm so excited to have you talk about what it is, or the process of writing a book and becoming a best-selling author, all that good stuff. But this series is about writing that book, because it's a lot of people who have a book in them. Actually, everybody has a book in them. In this era that we're going to, the storytelling, we're in that era. So if you get anything from this one, this live, is tell your story, write it down. I don't want to get too much into it, but can you please tell us about yourself, who you are? I don't want to talk too much before we get into this conversation. I don't want to wait for people to join. I want this to already get going, because you can play it back on YouTube and Facebook.
Awesome. Okay, so look, disclaimer and a question, girl. Is it okay to be myself? Can I be myself?
That's all I do. We only be
Yes.
our.
Hey, y'all. Hey, C Notes. Thank you so much for having me. You know what? Librarian of life, girl. That's the yes. My name is La Amate. I'm in a lot of dashes and backslashes, y'all. Your girl's a lot of dashes and backslashes. And a best-selling author happens to be one of them, as well as an award-winning author. Let me.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like she said, everybody has a story to tell. And as my coach and agent, would like to say, everybody has a story to tell, and she's just one of them who can help you tell it well. She's actually the one who took me to the number one best-selling author spot, and then thereafter award-winning author, and now 7 times over. I'm also a graphic designer. I'm a master numerologist. It's the numbers for me, y'all. It's the numbers for me. I'm an autism mom. I have 2 boys who are on the spectrum. I'm a coach. I'm a speaker. I do a lot. I got my hands in many pots, and I'm damn good at what I do.
Yes, you are. You are. You are. Your 30-day book, I just want to say before we talk about the process, and it'll give people time to join. I met you, I'm pretty sure, at the Black Women's Expo in Chicago. And
Yes.
you were in it was a book space. And I was like, yeah, I got my book, my first book I wrote, you was like, you need to get this on. But I'm gonna just say I only want to talk about that right now. I want to talk about your book. It was actually the first book that I went through as far as a workbook. So many people have workbooks, and I'm not knocking anybody's workbook, but your workbook was the first workbook that I went through. Like, I did it. I resonated with it so much. I learned more about myself. I feel like it started me on my journey. Even as a therapist, we do have to, because healing is everlasting. It's no ED. No one will ever be healed or fully evolved. This life journey, it's forever. It's lasting until you die. So it's gonna be things I'll say, you encounter in that book. I'm so happy, and I feel so honored having you on this live, because yeah, I shared it to as many
Girl,
people.
shut your mouth. Is you trying to make me cry? Like,
Sorry.
what's this? What the purpose of this? Get up out of this
Yeah,
energy.
let's get back
Get up
on
out of this.
topic. But seriously, I'm gonna share the book with everybody too, in the comments, and just on my page.
I'm
I've
so
shared it
amazed. So,
before,
guys, the book
but
she's talking about is 30 Days of Me. It
yes.
is a kickstart to your inner healing journey. And like she said, healing is not linear. Hello, there's no such thing as, oh yeah, I did the work, I'm healed. Use a lie.
Yeah.
Love you, but you, baby, it's forever until you are 6 feet under, or 7 feet above, if you choose a mausoleum, when you pass away.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, it is never done. The work is never done. Growth is not linear. Personal development is not linear. Spiritual development is not linear. You, my baby, you are not linear. You are multidimensional. You are
Yes.
multifaceted. You
Yes.
are you are just, you're brilliant beings. And so 30 Days of Me is going to help kickstart you on that journey. And I say kickstart intentionally because I don't sell no fluff.
I know.
You know,
You
I'm gonna
don't.
hold you accountable for those 30 days, but the rest, boo, that not linear part, that's on you.
Mhm.
And the good thing about 30 days of me is it is recyclable. I do my 30-day process every year. My own process. Every single year.
And I agree with you because some of the activities in there I've done before, but it's you being intentional about this healing journey. Because, like you said, it is a Kickstarter, but it is to kick you back into place. Because, like we said, healing isn't linear, and sometimes you may need that book more than others. I come
No,
back
for sure.
all the time. We always come back. And that is a book that if you are on this healing journey or you just want to be more intentional about you, because that's what this world needs, more people being intentional about themselves. Um, it's a book you can't go back to. And I definitely, I have it. It's on my, I have two bookshelves. One where I'm like, you know what? I want books I read it, like I know I've read and I just love and I like to go back to, and that's in my bedroom. But yeah, we'll go into that later. We'll talk about that. But I want this library of life to be about writing a book, and also with this library series, it's about really owning your truth in your story, and your story is in that 30-day, but it's still about you. Like it was still about me, even though you were telling parts of your story in different examples and moments in your life where it really was relevant in that spot. That's what I want people to get. Like, you being your authentic unicorn self, that will help you in whatever field you get in. But especially in writing a book, like, you have to be your authentic self. That's why I had to rewrite my book, because I felt like I needed it to be more me. So can you tell people about what made you get into writing and your just journey? And yeah, and if people have questions, I will look and keep it going. But I want you to tell your process.
Okay. So truth time, truth serum.
Yeah.
Oh man, I struggled with imposter syndrome so bad. Let me slow down talking. I struggled with imposter syndrome so bad.
Yeah.
All my life, and you know what? God puts me through the ringer, and I say that intentionally because I know that because it ain't the devil. I don't give him that much glory. I don't let him claim the fame to
Yeah.
anything in my life. God gives me obstacles to overcome so that I can help other young women, who are either growing through what I grew through, or are it kind of just in that stuck in the mud, type of. And I come down there with my little lantern, like, hey girl, come on, this way.
Yeah.
You know, call me the Harriet Tubman in personal development.
Oh, love that.
Let me take you down to my underground railroad. But so I struggle really bad with, and I've heard so many times, people, oh my God, you should tell your story. You've been through so much and it can help other people. But then every time and it started as poems for me, but every time I put pen to page, that emotional outlet I found I was content with it. That was enough. I didn't feel like I needed to publish it until I ran into my now book coach and agent on Clubhouse. So for those who don't know what Clubhouse is, it just really, really quickly, at the brink of the pandemic, there was a social audio app that went boom, out of nowhere. We're all forced to like kumbaya, sit in the house, and we had this new app where you can actually talk to people across the world, and you can be in your pajamas in the comfort of your own home in your living room with a flip flop on one foot and a Nike on the other, and nobody would know the difference. but
I
but
love
people heard your voice. They felt your vibrations. They resonated with your frequency. And on that app, I met with Nalena Kai, who's my agent, and she was doing a 30-day book challenge. At 30, you know what? It's been a thing for me.
Yeah.
It was write your book in 30 days, and I did not the first time because imposter syndrome kicked in. I thought I wanted to start with my memoir. I wanted to tell my story, because I've been through so much, from the loss of a child to now the loss of my father, and 2 failed marriages, and being an ASD mother, 2 children on the spectrum. But it was too much pain on the page. It was I wasn't done with my process enough that I could actually put it out there for somebody else. I was still dealing with me, and God was still dealing with me. So my coach, beautiful soul, held my hand and said, "You know what? Put the memoir down, because I know you got something in you. I'm getting ready to do an anthology called Powerhouse Voices, Amazing Experiences on Clubhouse. And I just want you to talk about how Clubhouse has transformed your life, because it did. I skyrocketed and had like 20,000 followers. People were interested in, numerology, and I talked about personal development. And so I was a thing on Clubhouse. And she said, write about that. And I joined the anthology. That went #1. So that's actually what gave me the #1 title. And then I'm a marketing specialist. And so then I co-wrote a book, or did the anthology for the marketing stuff, which is a companion to the book called The Right Stuff, writing and publishing and marketing your book. And I drop in, marketing tidbits for people who want to raise their book babies, because it's not enough to just write your book, which we're going to talk about today, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you write your book, when you birth that book, then you got to raise that thing, right?
Yeah.
You got to market, you got to promote it, you got to get it out there, you got to get it through its childhood and adolescence and adult stage, and in its transitioning stage, whatever that may look like. So the second book went #1, and I was on a roll. That year with 2022 was the same year that I put out 30 Days of Me, my first solo book, and by that time I was a 4-time best-selling author. It happened very, very fast.
Yeah.
It gave me the motivation, and it wasn't just Nelaina Kai, because let me talk about my tribe. Nelaina Kai has a writing tribe called Success, and this is very important, to have people around you who support you, people who want to see you win, right? They say that you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around. Right? So how about Nelaina Kai introduced me to her writing tribe? Her writing tribe consists of USA Today best-selling authors, New York Times best-selling authors, award-winning authors. And so now I'm in this circle, the baby, I do like the novice at this, and they come in, they cradle me, and they help me grow my wings, and I took off soaring. The greatest thing about collaborating is that, and the tribe called Success is 20 plus authors, a very diverse group. But what we do is we push and we promote each other on all of our platforms. So when I dropped 30 Days of Me, baby, it was a shoe-in. I wasn't just pushing and promoting to my audience. I had 20 established authors in the game, and it went boom, 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 here. Today, this platform, this Meet La Amate, get you a tribe. Surround yourself with people who believe in you and that are going to push and promote. Sharing is caring, and it don't cost nothing. It don't cost nothing to share somebody's content. So yeah, that's how my journey started.
No, I love that. It was a lot of things that you said that I feel like I want to just like highlight.
Yeah.
And the biggest one is collaboration. I think a lot of people, we're still, I'm not gonna say it, we as far as me, but a lot of people in this, and especially in the United States, we're still driven by competition. And competition is, I don't know, I see it all the time.
It's weak. It's weak. It's whack. So, girl, call it what it is.
Collaboration at the top, because 2 minds are better than 1. We hear that, like, you have to have, and then also it matters who you are around. That's the second part. Like, you have to be around people who support you and who are in alignment with what you want in this life.
Come on.
You just have to. Birds of a feather flock together, but you are an average of the 5 people you associate with. Like, it doesn't matter if it looks different. The values are there because y'all align for some reason. So why not make it be for what you want in this life? And if what you want right now is write that book, get around people who have written a book, or go join a writing club. A lot of libraries have writing clubs and book clubs and things like that. And that's what you want to, I'll say that is a really good start in device in writing that book. Go join a writing club so you can start a 30-day challenge or whatever that is. Or go to somebody. I know you have a program we'll talk about at the end that you're offering, helping people, but it's a lot of different things out there to get you what you want in this life. You just got to start, honestly.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And can we talk about, where to start?
Yes, let's talk about where to start.
Okay. So uh, the biggest problem people have is getting the story out of their head and onto the page. One of the most common genres that people want to start with is a memoir, because who doesn't want to tell about their life story, with things that they've been through. And but it's like, where do I start? Do I start with when I was a baby? Do I start with when I was a preteen? Or and a lot of times they want to put everything on the page. They want to tell it from the time they came out the womb up until today. And let me tell you, that's like anybody reading all that? I
Yeah.
love y'all. I love y'all. But let me help you. Let me help you
Yeah.
with what they will read. So what you're going to do to get it out of your head and on the page is you're going to create a storyline. Create that outline. And what does an outline look like? Okay, how do I do that, La? How do I even start the outline? Okay, get a piece of paper out. And you're going to label that paper from 1 to 20. This is what my coach, my agent taught me. 1 to 20. And then numbers 1 to 20, I want you to take your top 20 most impactful events that has happened in your life and write those down. What do you want to talk about?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to think about too, what do I want my takeaway to be? What do I want my audience to know about me? What's most important? Do I want them to know, I knew my ABCs at the age of 1? Is that important? Or
Yeah.
do I want them to know that I was captain of the cheerleading squad, throughout high school? That might be important to your storyline. Just make sure that you are telling your most 20 impactful things that happen to you in your life. And then I want you to leave a space in between those 20 questions, because we're going to go right back and we're going to put A and B under each number. The A and B. So one is okay, we'll use it. We'll use that the same scenario that I said. I made the captain of the cheerleading squad in my freshman year of high school. That's my point one. A is going to be what happened immediately before that. B is going to be what happened immediately after that. A might look like um, throughout middle school, I was bullied for, not being, a popular girl, or, whatever happened before. And then what happened after is, okay, I was captain of the cheerleading squad my freshman year, and I was homecoming queen. I made homecoming queen,
Yeah.
and my popularity gained. And, that's a very cheesy,
I
example.
know, but no, it makes it easier for people to understand though.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want your point A and point B to be what happened before and what happened after. Baby, when you do your outline, you've got your book.
That's
You
what
got
I,
like
yeah, I tell everybody that a lot of my clients in therapy, they want to write their book, and I'm like, I tell them you got to do an outline. I'm like, we got to take it back to our basics, what we learned in school. That was like when it came to writing classes, the brainstorming, the mapping, and I'm like, it's the outline. But I say your chapters, like what you just said, which I like it even more. Break down the most important parts, what you really want the audience, because like you said, another thing, most people do want to start with their story. And I was very much so similar to you, but I was just like, I ain't ready for that. So I went to something else. But like you said, our life is big, no matter what age you at. 20, 50, and I'm not trying to compare, but a lot can come up in your life that you can talk about, but you want to make sure it's impactful, whatever you write in that story. But you can also do something like you did, the 30 days workbook, and even a lot of people do, you can tell your story in a way that it's not just your story, it's moments that reflect what you're trying to say. But yeah, I love that. I hope everybody is taking notes, because I agree wholeheartedly.
yes. So look, about the memoir. I did a pitch. It was a pitch practice room on Clubhouse, and it was the most eye-opening experience for me. And it also has been one of the very reasons why I have not written my memoir. Now I've gotten past the imposter syndrome. I know who I am. I'm standing 10 toes down in that, today. but I'm still not ready to tell my story, like you said, because my story isn't finished.
Yeah.
I have not yet made the impact that I want to make in order to tell the story of who I am. Right now, I am not as relevant as I need to be for people to actually care who I am, which was what this pitch practice was all about. So when we did the pitch, it was, I don't know, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. And I got on there, I'm going to tell you, I'm this, I'm that. Da, 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 da. And they were like, oh, wow, that's great, La Amate, but we don't care who you are. We don't. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Wow. Excuse me? Come again? No, but they broke it down. They said, we don't care who you are. We want to know what you can do for us. We want to know what problem you solve. We want to know what actions to take. We want to know what actions you take to create the positive impact that you say you do through what you do.
Mm-hmm.
That changed my pitch. That also changed the trajectory of when I am to publish my memoir. I'm still boots to the ground doing the work that, the Most High has entrusted in me with. All the things that he's called me to steward over.
Mm-hmm.
My gift, I'm still giving my gift away. And so there will come a time where people who will care who La Amate is. I'm not worried about that right now.
Yeah.
My thing is helping those who I'm supposed to help through my gift.
No,
when they start asking who is La Amate, then I'll tell my story.
Yeah, I agree. I'm 100% on, like, that's exactly where I'm at on my journey. So, yeah, I love that. So after we do this outline, because I want to be mindful of our time.
Yes.
After we do this outline with these 20 points of highlight moments in our lives, and we do the bullet point A and B after each of those items. Now what? We have this outline, but I know your book is basically done. Oh, and I want to just, because I've been trying to help a lot of people, but now I'm not. This live is going to be what I send people when they want advice on their book.
Okay.
And I know, like, a lot of us utilize ChatGPT, and that's just the truth. And I'm not against it, but you can tell when you read something that does not sound authentic,
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying don't use it, but make it really be you. It is your story. It's not ChatGPT story. Like, it is your story. If you wouldn't, and also once you read it, I mean, if you do utilize that, you read it, put it down for a second, come back before you even share it, read it yourself. Is this something you will read? But I want to add that, and I want to add your perspective and your thoughts on the AI, because I 100%, but it's like you can still make it be uniquely you, because it is your story. It's your story, and yeah.
So yeah, ChatGPT in my world is a big no-no. It's a big no-no when it comes to writing books. Can you use ChatGPT to maybe help you curate your author bio? Yeah, sure, that's fine. But creative works, who's the creative? The computer or you? So, and especially when it comes to what are your goals? As an author, because if your goal is to be traditionally published, and there's a difference between self-published and traditionally published. Self-published means I put my own books out, through my own distributing or through my own publishing company, and I am not housed under any professional publishing company, which is a traditional company like Simon & Schuster, Harlequin, Macmillan, Hay House. Those are traditional publishers. They will cancel Christmas. You hear me? If you come to them with AI work. So that's a huge no-no, because of where I'm going in my literary career. I've got some stuff on the table and it works, where I can't use ChatGPT at all. And so I just want to discourage you all if you have big literary dreams.
But I was going to say, why think a lot of people turn to ChatGPT because I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people do want to tell their story. And I think a lot of people, what you started with, they have this imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
And like it's a lot of programs that help you edit and format, but it's literally if you have the idea, God already put it there. It's already like Most High already put the. All you got to do is this is how you're gonna. I feel like that outline is gonna help a lot of people because that's what I always give them back to. Like put this together. But once again, like when you got in that pitch room, which I love. I haven't did anything with Clubhouse, but that's something I'm very much interested in.
Yes.
But it literally, once you do an outline, no matter what book or story you're trying to tell, but most people do want to tell their story. Do the outline, and then it's gonna write itself. Seriously.
Absolutely. And then you're going to create a story flow, right? With your outline. So when you're doing your outline, don't get hung up. Like when you're doing your 1 through 20, don't get hung up on writing things in chronological order. The first thing that pops in your head, I don't care if it was, when you were 20 years old, that was the first thing, put that as number 1, right? And then something from, when you were 5 years old popped up at number 5. Put it, at number 5. Cool. We will rearrange that in the story flow. Okay. So this is step 2. So this part you can use like Excel spreadsheet, which is easiest for me, or you can create a cell graph on whatever your preferred document maker is. And then you're going to label your columns across the top, and it'll go chapter, setting, point of view, and action, right? So your chapter, of course, you're going to go down 1 through 20 or however many. So when you do your 1 through 20 in the outline, you might not come up with 20 things you want to talk about. Let's say you only came up with 10. Cool. Don't be pressed for the 20. However many you come up with between 1 and 20, that's how many chapters we're potentially looking at. But moving forward, you'll write those chapters down under the first column. And then under the second column, you're going to put setting. So what setting were you in chapter 1? This is where you're putting everything in chronological order. This will be maybe, 5 years old, 8 years old. We're talking memoirs, 12, something happened at 12 years old, something that happened 15, 20, whatever. What setting were you in? Setting is the place, right? The environment. This was at MacArthur High School. This was at in Decatur, Illinois, at the Children's Museum. So you want to put the setting down, and then point of view, because when you're writing a story, a lot of times there's more than one character, more than just your main character, right? So you want to make sure that you are writing down whose point of view you're actually telling that story from. And then the action, what's actually taking place. All right. Example. Chapter 1, the setting is we are at Red Rose Diner in Louisiana. I don't know, but I just made that up. And point of view is the main character. Main character's name is Alina. The action is Alina's at Red Rose Diner, right? And she's taking herself out to brunch for her regular traditional self-care Sunday routine. This is what she does every Sunday. So she's kind of celebrating herself, and up pops Kelvin. Kelvin is just an old secret crush she hadn't seen in a while, childhood friend. He walks in, he's ordering to go from Red Rose Diner. And he looks over and he sees Alina, and she's sitting by herself. So he goes to speak. Conversation starts to get good, and smiles are exchanged. And then all of a sudden, Kelvin decides he's not taking his food to go. He's gonna cop a squat with Alina, right? So this is the action that's gonna take place. Now you're not gonna write out the entire chapter. This is when you start to write those chapters, it gives you a starting point, a place where you can build, right? And this goes for fiction or nonfiction. Alina could be a fictional character, and you're writing, some sort of sweet romance book, or Alina could be you, and you're talking about how you ran into your old high school crush, and now he your husband, and how that love story happened. So. But using the story flow helps you keep on task, and all of the ideas that pop into your head, when you're writing the story flow, because a lot of us think we know, oh, I'll remember that, I'm not going to forget that. And then you go to write the book and you forgot it. You had this awesome idea, you had the setting, you had the point of view, you had the action, and then whoop, when you go to write it.
Yeah.
So when you have that Excel spreadsheet in front of you while you're writing, it just makes the flow go so much easier.
Yeah, I agree. It sounds like it. I mean,
oh, absolutely,
definitely. Okay, so we got the story. Well, first we got the outline, then we got the story flow.
Yes.
And now, and I just want to add, if anybody has questions, you can drop them at any time. Anything, it doesn't have to be what we're talking about, but just questions in regarding to writing the book. So when we do start, like after we finish this process, we'll have the questions and we can answer them. So drop them at any time. But after the story flow, now.
So then there's character profiles. And character profiles and story flow, they kind of, I won't say they go hand in hand. One can go before the other. It doesn't matter which order you're doing them in. The difference is you're going to have character profiles are important when you're writing fiction books. So you got to determine is the book you're writing fiction or nonfiction. Well, what's fiction? Fiction is a fable. It is a story that you made up, and it can be mixed in with some true life, events, but it's supposed to be made up, y'all. Yeah. And then nonfiction is pretty much, and I write both, but that's my wheelhouse. Nonfiction is these are facts. These are this is knowledge. This is information. Memoirs. That's stuff that really happened to you, right? It's not made up. It's not some story tale that you're trying to put somebody to bed. So you're really telling your real life story. That is nonfiction. If you are giving knowledge, if you're writing a book on astrology, on numerology, on a self-help books, how-to books, those fall under nonfiction. But for character profiles, for fiction, you're gonna need a character profile. Character profiles give you that visual that you need. Let me tell you how good and how juicy character profiles are. They make your characters come to life. They give you joy. They give you motivation. They give you inspiration. I want to get up and I got a mannequin. I have a mannequin that I dress up. Once I write my character profile in an outfit, I go out and buy her outfit, or I'll pull something from my closet. Just like the mannequin you see in Macy's or Ross or wherever. I have my own mannequin here, and I would dress it up as my main character, and it sits in my room. But your character profiles bring your characters to life, right? So you want to gather like your basic info, the name, give them a nickname. What gender are they? Age, date of birth, zodiac sign, life path number. If you're into like metaphysical stuff, if that matters to you, their birthplace and where do they currently reside, their city and state, their appearance. What does their hair look like? Do they have tight 4C coils like your girl? Is the coils popping? Or do they have long, maybe, wavy hair? What color is it? What's their eye color? What's the eye shape? Their height. Make them pop. Make them come to life. The ethnicity, the skin complexion, scars, marks, tattoos, and piercings. What is their clothing style? Right? Are we dealing with somebody who wears urban streetwear, or is this your main character? Is she always business casual because she's in meetings, half of her day? Their persona, what kind of intellect level are we dealing with the main character? What are their mannerisms, their quirks, their habits? Because we put on all these masks for all the people in our lives. We got to smile for our spouse, and we got to be happy and joyful for the kids, and we got to be serious and professional for the boss, and we have to use a certain tone with all these people. We have to use a certain level of intellect with all these people. There are some people who we can use maybe some slang with, and other people that we can't. So I want to know what those quirks are. What are those mannerisms? What are those habits? Their outward motivations, their external conflicts. Like we were talking, imposter syndrome. That would be external and internal, conflict.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What are their pet peeves? What's their favorite color, food, drink? What makes them get up and dance? What's their favorite song? any hobbies they're interested into. Like, you're gonna get real specific to where you're gonna feel like this person is your best friend and you know their entire life.
Yeah, I
desires, yeah.
and, and I do think fiction does sound fun. Someone asked or said they recently self-published their first book based on real life, and honestly, I would love to lean towards fiction books. How should they maneuver in that direction, or any advice in maneuvering in that direction of fiction?
Oh, look, what's the title of this thing? Write the book already. Just do it.
Start.
Just do it. So here's the thing. You have to distinguish whether or not, and I don't know if you're writing under a pen name or if you're writing under your government name, but let's assume that your nonfiction piece that you put out, you put under your government name, and you want to transition into writing some fiction books, but you don't necessarily want your name tied into it. And people do that. They choose a pen name because they want to be incognito behind the type of stuff that they write for various reasons. They might have a very vanilla lifestyle, a very vanilla job, so there are maybe like a fictional author who wants to write erotica, but you work corporate, so you can't, you don't want to use your, at this point you want to use a pen name. So I don't know if maybe that's the question you're asking.
Yeah, basically, yes.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, choose a pen name that you want to write under. You can write totally incognito. When it comes to building your author brand around that, you want to use your logo, your author logo, and not your real photo. And then, of course, the same process you did to write the other book, your outline, your story flow, your everything we've talked about thus far. Use all the tools that you've been given in this video to write that fictional piece. But yeah, start with the pen name. You know who you want to be. This is where you get to create that alter ego, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I did like that Harriet Tubman of personal development. It was amazing. It was amazing. So when you finish a book, how do you know if it's any good?
Oh, okay. So, and I'm glad you asked this, because it kind of ties into how I feel about Chat GPT. And you touched on, people, they have imposter syndrome and they maybe don't feel like their writing is good enough, so they want to use Chat GPT for more polished work. Or maybe that's what editors are for. There are people, there are real people, right, that you can go to who are professional and great at what they do. Don't worry about being a good writer. Who was good? I'm talking about great at what they do now when they first started.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? The editor's job is to develop your story. And there's different types of editing. There's line editing, copy editing, developmental editing. And then you have beta readers. So you're going to put it through your editing process, and a good book has been through editing twice. Actually, a good book has been through editing 3 times. Your first edit should be a self-edit. Mm-hmm. You should be printing your manuscript out, reading that out loud, and anything that sounds repetitive, because we tend to do that. When we try to get a point across, like, we'll say the same thing, 20 different ways. And it doesn't, we don't catch it until we actually read it out loud, right? Mm-hmm. So read that book out loud first. Do your self edits. That'll save you time and money. When you can cut out all the unnecessary stuff that you catch at first, then send it to an editor. They're going to send it back to you for any revisions. Send it again after you input those revisions to a different editor. The more eyes on your project, the better. So you send it to a different editor. Then they're going to give you revisions. They're going to catch stuff that you didn't catch the first time, that the first editor didn't catch the first time, right? The second time. Mm-hmm. And then you'll input it, and it'll be, I'm telling you, so tight. Then you're going to send it to a beta reader. Oh, what's a beta reader? Beta readers are some people that read your manuscript before it is officially published from front to back. These are not people who do line edits or copy edits or developmental editing. They're checking for flow and making sure that it makes sense and it's comprehensive, and that so when you send it to those beta readers, and I usually do 2 beta readers, and you get that feedback, you can put your finishing touches, the polishes on them, tie that thing up with a nice little bow and ship it off for publishing, and you're ready to go.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say this, and even if you have like what you started with earlier, creating a support group and people, your tribe. So I'm gonna say this, and I'm just being honest. When I wrote my book the first time, I didn't have a tribe of writers and readers, because it's writers and readers that you have to be around, because I feel like I didn't have a lot of people who wanted to read the book, like, because I'm just gonna say, a lot of people don't like to read. And this time around, I did everything. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do an audio version of it. I won't, before I put it out, I had to really, but the more you surround yourself with people who I'll say is in alignment with you, it'll be easier for you to find the people who you can get feedback, and it'll also be easier for you to find those editors and to find those people, because that's how I was able to find an editor this time, for this last book. But it was interacting and working with people, going to those events, the book bootstrapping that you're saying, like, that's where I'm at. It's really going out there, putting yourself out there. It's just not just writing a book, unless you just want to write to let it, to release for healing. But if you really want to take this serious, like, you have to do the steps. Like, you can't just say, I'm gonna publish this and I'm gonna make a lot of money, because that shouldn't be your goal. And like, that's what you said too a little bit, like, what are you doing this for? What is the impact of the reason why you want to even put this out? Because it could be for entertainment, but that's a different, just know your purpose and your reason. So better readers, and now you said wrap and put a bow. Anything else that you want to add in that process?
Listen, we are literally living in the age of the entrepreneur, right? So especially when COVID hit, that birth, we kind of went through it. What are they? Maybe like an entrepreneur baby boom. Like,
I was part of it during COVID when I transitioned from corporate to.
A lot of people had that light bulb moment in that moment and was like, whoa, hold on, this ain't it. Mm-hmm. This ain't it. It's either now or never. And they strapped up their boots and they started businesses, and they really went balls to the wall on believing in themselves. And I love that for us. And I'm going to tell you this. If you have a business, if you're an entrepreneur, you should have a book. Write the book already. Right? So if you're stuck and you're like, oh, I don't want to tell my story yet, I'm struggling with imposter syndrome, or, oh, I don't know where to get, I want to write fiction, but, I don't know how to get started. Or even after watching this, if you have a business, whatever you are an SME at, subject matter expert, write your book centered around that. That's how I got 30 Days of Me.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm a personal development coach. I can write personal development front, back, side to side, upside down, in my sleep. This is what I do, and this is who I am. I breathe growth. And I can write about it all day long. My personal backstory, I still be choking up tears sometimes. But I can write this. Mm-hmm. This is what I can do. And you should be able to easily write your book too, on whatever you are an expert at, on whatever your business is. I don't care if it's lashes. I don't care if you do shoe shining. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you sell hair, or if you are an artist, who does, fine art, canvas art, photography, whatever that you are an expert on. You can tell people and teach people and give them tips and marketing strategies based on what's been working for you and what hasn't been working for you, right? Because new entrepreneurs also need to know what not to do, boo.
They do. We learn from each other. It's
Yes.
mistakes to make in this life. Why not
Yes.
learn from someone who's been through what you've been through? And if you are entering a new field, align yourself with those writers. Join those writer groups because they have, like I said earlier, they have the different timelines and things like that. Someone just asked though about writer's block. What would you recommend about writer's block?
Writer's block, first and foremost, there is no cookie cutter answer for that. That comes with self-awareness. You gotta know who you are and what works for you that allows your creativity to flow. For me, that looks like going outside and grounding myself in nature. And I'm talking barefoot, feet in the grass. I'm a tree hugging, gardening, just nature loving type of individual. And so centering myself in nature really helps me release. I'm also a holistic, I don't want to say practitioner because I believe in holistic wellness. We'll say that. And so, stretching and opening up, my hips, that's channeling energy through my sacral chakra and my solar plexus and my root chakra that are releasing those fears, that are stirring up that creative energy for me, unlocking the hip joint so that any blocks or barriers are allowed to flow. And let me tell you this, writer's block sometimes ain't writer's block. We just want to be able to label it something when we can't be productive, right? And I'm using these quotation marks, productive, because we think that productive is an action. Let me tell you something, boo. Rest is productive.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I'm going to tell you that, I'm going to say it like this. When you have writer's block, the first thing you should be doing is taking a break. The first thing you should be doing is honoring what your body is telling you, honoring what your mental is telling you. It's saying, listen, honey, I'm burnt out. I can't push and produce any. I've got other things that I'm wanting to focus on, and you won't allow me to focus on them because you want to write this book, and I'm trying to heal these cells in your body. I'm trying to heal your bloodstream. I'm trying to do this, and we're combating one another, right? So listen to your body, honor your body. So the first step is to take a break. Take a break. And that your rest period is productive. And then once you come into, ask yourself those internal questions, why do I feel this way? What's going on with me? And get down to the root cause of it. What kind of external distractions might you be having? Are there any external stressors? Are there any internal stressors, right? We're going to pull that mirror out because we can't just point the fingers outward. What's going on the inside of you? That's not allowing you to push out this work. Is what you're writing too emotional, or have you not dealt with or healed with a portion of, are you triggered? So in your rest period, that's your period to reflect. And then when you reflect and identify, then you can then target what it is that your body has communicated to you that you need to release to get back into your creative flow.
I agree. I love that. I love the first thing. Go take a break. Go rest. Because a lot of people, this whole I call it the hustle culture. It has to die. Like we not meant to be working until we die. Like you have to take a break. You just have to. I kind of want to. Somebody just asked, how do you get an agent? So I guess we can move into the publishing, self-publishing versus how to get an agent. If you want.
Absolutely. So to get an agent in most cases, and at least through at the level of, which I have acquired an agent, excuse me, is to go through Query Tracker. So write that down, Query Tracker. And if you have not done a proposal before, or not a proposal, a query letter, then you might want to consider learning what that is, doing your research, hiring maybe somebody who does query letters So, first you're going to write the book, because nowadays it used to be that you could submit a proposal. Proposal was just an idea, right, of a book that you have. Let's say it's a fiction book that you want to, and you write fantasy, and it's about fairies and dragons, right? Um, and you had this amazing idea, and you wanted to kind of build a world around it. You could write that all up in a proposal back in the day. We're talking 20, 30 years ago. And the agents would then take the proposals at that time, and they would take you on if it sounded good enough and they felt like you could write it, and submit the proposal to a publishing house, and then possibly get a deal from that. That's not enough nowadays. They want finished products. They don't want a chapter. They don't want 3 chapters. They want the book written from beginning to end. So first, write the book. Second, write a query letter. The query letter is saying, hey, I'm, such and such. I'm this author. I have this book. I would like to submit it, to the manuscript and . So there's a format to that query letter that then goes out on Query Tracker to your selected agents. The agents then decide whether or not they're interested in your work, based on a variety of factors. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I like that. Thank you for sharing that. And what about as far as self-publishing?
Now, self-publishing is fairly simple. Here's the thing: a lot of people self-publish through KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing on Amazon.
Yeah,
and that's cool. I don't knock nobody who does it. But what would it look like if your books was everywhere?
Yeah.
What would it look like if your books was everywhere books are sold? A lot of people don't know that Amazon is not your only option as a self-published author. There's a company called Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark is a distributor who distributes wide, right? So now we're getting to publishing terminology. Wide means across multiple platforms. That means when you upload your documents, your PDFs for your manuscript and your book cover and into their system, and it's approved, they distribute it not only to Amazon. They send it to Barnes and Noble. They send it to Apple. They send it to Kobo. Kobo's the international platform, okay? Because we trying to get in France. We trying to get in Germany. We trying to get. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I tell whenever I introduce, like literally, they may not know your name, but every time anybody talks to me or if I talk about my book, I tell everybody, when I met you, my book was on KDP. He's like, put it on Ingram Spark now. And when I put my book on Ingram Spark, I got a big UK population of people. Like in the UK, they love the book. They love it. I tell everybody, go to Ingram Spark. It's no upfront cost. But it depends on who you are and where you are at on your journey, which option is best for you. If you want to go to agent route, go to agent route.
If you you can. And listen, you can. It is so possible to start as a self-published author and then create a plan to become a hybrid author. Hybrid is, self-published and traditionally published. There's a benefit in that. Mm-hmm. There's a huge benefit in that. Let's say your first 2 books you self-publish, and then the 3rd book you got an agent and it got picked up by the agent. Agent found a traditional house that wanted to pick that book up because it's just so awesome, and you've got this big platform on Facebook and Instagram, and that's another thing we got to talk about, and YouTube, and a big following, and the house says, you know what, this looks like a good investment. This looks like we're gonna get a lot of ROI, so we'll take it. What that does for the one self-published author who's in hybrid, once the house takes it and you publish under them, they're going to push, they're going to promo, they're going to market, right? And that book's going to hopefully skyrocket. And when it skyrockets, guess what it's going to do for your backlist? The 2 books that you had that were self-published, you know?
Yeah.
And wait a minute. So the one that's traditionally published, you get a cut, you know. The traditional house is going to take a chunk, but you'll get a cut from that, whatever type of deal you made for that. But those two self-published books that you had on the back end, guess who get 100% of those proceeds?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
See, there's method to this madness. It's a little
Yes.
how they do that. That's a little tea.
Yes. Um. No, but no, I agree with you. So much. I agree with you. On that, because when I tell people about this, I'm like, you got to think. Look who's still around. I mean, we still reading books from Dr. Seuss. Think and Grow Rich. Like these books was written in the 1800s, 1700s. Books we're still reading to this day. I'm like, and that's creating a legacy, because that's what these Library of Life series are too. It's about creating a legacy, not just for you, but for your family.
Yes.
Because you do get the list of beneficiary. If anything happens to you, now your kids receive that, and they can keep your book alive too, just by from like this is how legacies and legacies are built. Because we don't want just because I just seen this, but I'm gonna say it on this. We don't want just I'm gonna say one person, because this is the thing about Black excellence or something like this. But this is me talking about Black culture. But a lot of times we don't have those. I'm gonna say the family with the legacies, like the Waltons, or the Rockefellers, like Carnegie. Like it's some names that even the Bushes. We had two Bush presidents. I'm not trying to say it like that, but we have one here, one there, one Michael Jordan, one Mike Tyson, one best-selling or the poet Maya Angelou. Let's create a family, a legacy of this.
Yes.
Romaine can, and I'm not saying that, I'm not putting that pressure on y'all, but write that book. We do got another question.
Write the book already.
What do you recommend for publishing after getting on Ingram Spark? I have much in mind, but I want my book to be number one.
Okay, ask the question again. What do I recommend for publishing?
It said, what do you recommend for publishing after getting on Ingram Spark? I have much in mind, but I want my book to be number one.
What do I recommend for publishing on Ingram Spark?
I think they're trying to say like the marketing. That's what they
gotcha. Marketing is my jam, boo.
Yeah.
And collaboration is key. It's key.
Collaboration.
Let me tell you what I did for 30 Days of Me. 30 Days of Me, I had just about every type of promotional graphic you can think of in every style of medium, right? So we had still photos, graphics, we had videos and reels. There were interviews and podcasts, right? So anything involving a video recorder or a camera, like this thing was on it. It was on it. And they have to look tight. Make them simple, make them clean, make them pop, make them direct. If you do graphics that are way too busy and all jumbled on all over the place, people won't waste their time, looking at it, reading it. Which then brings me to the book cover. Your book cover, 30 Days of Me. Do this look self-published to y'all? Right? Don't it look like
look?
Yeah, it looks clean.
Clean.
I self-published this, but the difference is I hired an Adobe award-winning graphic designer to do my book cover. That's why I don't look self-published. Mm-hmm. All of my book covers, super clean, super professional. So the covers matter. Your graphics are going to matter. But let's get to the collaboration part. So 30 Days of Me, Kickstart to Your Inner Healing Journey. Well, what is this? It's a self-help book that's geared to help women step into a better version of themselves, or the best version of themselves, at least get them started on that journey. Mm-hmm. In the book, we talk about different tools and practices that you can utilize in order to start that journey, right? And to journey your way forward on your personal development and growth journey. What are those tools and what does that actually look like? We talk about prayer, we talk about meditation, we talk about yoga, we talk about breath work. And so what might my reader need in collaboration with this book, right? This is that think outside of the box.
Yeah.
Okay. How about I collaborated, y'all, with 15 self-care companies? And what happened was I made the 30 a thing. I hit him up, on email, Facebook Messenger, all over the place. And I'm like, hey, listen, I love your products. I love what you do. I got this book. It's 30 Days of Me. Give him a little rundown of what it is. Hey, for a promotional period, let's collaborate. How about you offer up to 30% off of your website for the book launch? They're like, okay, boom, boom, let's do it. Right? So there were, and these were all Black-owned companies. So these are a Black-owned candle company, a Black-owned exercise company that had exercise weights and yoga mats and all that other good stuff. Makeup. I had skincare, just anything you can think of, self-care. We had those Black-owned companies in the house. Their logos went on all promotional material, as well as the cover of my book. Their logos went out on all the email marketing campaigns. Their logos went up on my website. Guess what they did? They did the same. They put my book on their website. They put the book on all of their social media platforms, email campaigns, and we blasted everywhere. They saw, one company reported over 500% increase in their traffic on their Facebook page, about a 300% increase of sales for that promotional period on their website. It just went insane. And then my book went #1. Not only did we as companies, as collaborators, win, our customer won as well. It was a win-win-win for everybody in a situation. The book went #1. Companies got more visibility and their sales increased. And the customer got to kickstart her journey with all the essentials at a discounted price. Hello. Marketing 101. So just making sure that you're collaborating. And then also, with my writing tribe, with the 20 plus, authors who also distributed all of the marketing materials across their platforms as well. But don't do it alone, y'all. There's a quote by Jim Rohn. It's African, it's actually an African proverb. So let me correct myself when I say that. If you want to go fast, go alone. Go far, go together.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
Collaboration is key, y'all. Collaboration is key.
I agree. Any other questions before we end the live? Or while we wait for any questions to pop up, is there any last advice or any type of guidance you want to leave the audience?
Write the book already.
Write that book. Write that book. Write that book.
Oh, you know what? Let me put out there opportunity. Because if this ain't sold you yet to write the book, and you're like, I don't know if I can a whole book. I don't know if I can do a whole book. What if I told you I got an opportunity for you to be a part of an anthology where you only need, 2,000, 3,000 words. It's just a couple pages. My writing tribe is doing a series of anthologies. For my anthology is ASD Motherhood, Autism Spectrum Disorder Motherhood. If you are a mom and you have a child on the spectrum that you are raising, and you are an entrepreneur or business owner or an aspiring entrepreneur or business owner, I want to hear from you, boo. I want to know your story. I want to know your struggles. I want to know the things that you juggle. I want to know the things that you've cried about. I want to know the things that you got excited, about, what your child has overcome. And also want to know how you balance life as an ASD mom and business, because it ain't easy. It's not easy. I have two boys on the spectrum, and I had to have repeat conversations. Autism, they like repetitiveness, and I have to give them a heads up, a warning. We're gonna talk about this. We're gonna script about it. So all day we talked earlier today. Hey, mommy's got a recording. Shh. And so he goes, and my 18-year-old, mommy, mom. He does it real hard too.
Yeah.
So he kept doing that. I'm like, yes, that's it. He's perfect. He's been quiet. They're upstairs.
Yeah.
So I want to know what tips and tricks, work for you. What are your struggles? What can other moms that are joining the anthology, what can we help you with? I'm building a community, right? Of ASD moms where we can just support one another. But when we talk about autism and autistic children, there's a lot of light and awareness shown on the children, but the caregivers, we have same or similar experiences because we're actually growing through this with them. And I want to shine light on us, and what we see from our perspective and through our lens. And so then there's Word to Your Mother. Word to Your Mother is an anthology about your relationship with your mom. These are all happy stories, joyous stories, good things that moms taught you. Then there is Dance with My Father. Same thing on the father side. If you had a great relationship with your father, we want to hear those humorous stories, the good things that dad has taught daddy's little girl, or dad's best friend if you're a guy. We welcome all genders, all religions, all races. We just want authentic stories from your child, or not even from your childhood, from your life with your mom, with your dad, or if you are an autism mom. And then I think there is a romantic suspense anthology that's also available. So if you get interested in any of those, I am at La Amate everywhere. At La Amate. So LAAMMITAI. So make sure you connect with me and let me know that you want to get in on those anthologies.
I'm just dropping it in the comments, but all of your information, any way to contact you, how to book your services to be a part of this, I'm gonna have it on the YouTube description. So if you want to know, it will be on the YouTube description, and you can continue to leave comments and ask questions on the YouTube. And I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out to share your experience and to help people on their journey, because I know, like I started, a lot of people have a story to tell, and just write that book already.
Write the book already. Yes.
Okay, so if anybody has any other questions, thank you guys. Let me know. I didn't see anything while you were talking.
Okay.
Thank you. Everybody saying thank you. So thank you. Thank you guys so much for joining the live.